There are 2 of them currently in effect. The original one was down here in and around the Pottstown and Berks County and Chester County area. That one through 11 o'clock tonight. That one is set to expire, and most likely it will as the worst of the storm is moved up towards this area as well. So we're going to watch into northern eastern Lehigh County, or the southern Lehigh Valley, and then in northern Bucksmont. That's where we're ultimately watching for this new tornado warning. This is the most recent one. Through 11:30 tonight, through parts of Bucks, Lehigh, Montgomery, Northampton counties, especially the southern Lehigh Valley and upper Bucksmont in this area. Some showers, some thunderstorms, some downpours, and some very strong damaging winds are possible in this line of storms.
Hi.
Hey, Rob Vaughn.
Hey there.
Welcome to the green screen.
You precluded the rest of our newscast at 10:30 to 11, and the start, as you just said, at the big ticket. We haven't done this before, but I'm fascinated, and I know you have a lot to tell people. But I'm wondering, now that 11:30 has come into effect, all that's red. I just thought I'd ask you a few questions.
Right, sure.
All that's red is where there's now a warning, right? And you have the chance, but we have no evidence of any kind of spinning wind at all.
Correct. The radar indicates it, but it's tough at nighttime when it's pouring rain to actually say, hey, there's a tornado. So basically this is going off the radar suggesting that a tornado is possible and a tornado can form.
Yeah. Where we've seen on some of the other graphics the little spinny icon, that's also just suggesting that that's an area where this is possible, not that something is spinning at that spot.
Correct. That's when you see that spinning icon, and I'll get that up in 1 second, that's showing some spin higher up in the cloud. Now, in order for a tornado to form, you got to bring that spin high up in the cloud and bring it down to the ground.
Yeah.
If it's up in the cloud, no one on the ground knows, but if it's brought down to the ground, then you start getting the destructive winds of a tornado. So
part of the trick of it being at night, I guess, if that same dynamic was happening during the day, you might notice something that looks like the start of a funnel cloud, but when it's dark, there's no way to know until it actually were to touch down.
Correct, and that's where storm spotters, of course, come in, but of course this part of the country, especially in November, we don't have the Storm Chaser network they do in the Midwest. So basically we rely on, weather watchers, and there are storm reporters for the National Weather Service that will report damage, and damage reports will come in. You see that line now, Rob? I mean, basically from, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, working its way through upper Bucksmont, and then through Chester County. That's that impressive line. And you can see the lightning, or the lack thereof. There aren't many little bolts here, so that's why these storms can kind of sneak up on you, because usually in the summertime, thunderstorms are coming, you hear about them, for 20, 30, 40 minutes, you hear the thunder rumbling, you see the skies get dark. Nighttime, this can be deceptive. People are going to bed, people are watching TV, they think it's just a rainy night, and then you get some possible destructive winds, or worst case, possibly a tornado.
November 2nd, so this is very strange. Is it a dumb weather guy, a non-expert question? Is just because it's so warm and kind of sticky today?
It has something to do with it. The hot and humid air in the summer fuel the most intense thunderstorms. Same thing in November. You're not going to get this when it's 40 degrees out, but because it was 70 today, because it was humid, and you have a strong cold front and a lot of energy along that front, you do run the chance of some severe weather. We had the forecast for a couple thunderstorms, and we had the chance for a couple severe storms. Tornadoes in November, even more rare than the tornadoes in October that we saw, and we saw a couple of those up in the Poconos in early October.
Right, the straight line winds are not necessarily so rare at this time, I guess. And we might feel some of those tonight, I suppose, and there would be quite a distinction between that and a storm that spins, right?
Correct. I mean, the winds can still, whether or not it's a tornado or a straight line, you can still get them over 70 miles an hour. And a 70-mile-an-hour wind that rotates, or a 70-mile-an-hour wind that blows in a straight line, is still a 70-mile-an-hour wind, and can still cause some damage and destruction. So that's whether or not a tornado forms, whether or not a tornado is actually recorded. You can have what we call a microburst or some straight line wind damage, and that can be just as destructive. So the worst of these storms now, western Chester County, upper Montgomery County, in and around Milford Township and Quakertown in that area, and then along the I-78 corridor in Lehigh and in Northampton counties as well.
We both have people down in these areas. So I just got on the phone with my wife to say, hey, this thing has now been extended into our part of the world here. What does that mean for anybody who's
Does he not get enough attention on the news?
Warning zone, just I wasn't sure what to tell her. Just keep listening for something that sounds strange, and run to the basement if it does, or...
Right. Well, ultimately, you shouldn't even wait till the sound. I mean, if you are under a tornado warning, and I'm going to step off screen for a second, so you have complete control of the radio screen just for now. And I do want to put up those tornado warnings. And if you are in a tornado warning, you ultimately do not want to wait for that freight train sound.
Right.
You want to basically just seek shelter now. So we have cleared County, we've cleared the immediate Pottstown area on west because these storms are moving pretty quick.
Right.
But if you're in this area, and I know my cell phone was lighting up with my probably nervous wife at home, and haven't been able to answer it, but if she's watching, and most cell phones light up now automatically with the tornado warning. One great thing is hopefully you're watching 670 News, the AccuWeather channel, but if you're not, if you're out and about, tornado warnings are automatic. They will go just like an Amber Alert or whatnot, and you can see it where we're continuing to update it. So we are trimming it a little bit more. So now basically it's that northeast extension corridor to southern Lehigh County and Bucks and Montgomery County. A lot of upper Bucks now, and then the southern part of the Lehigh Valley, right along I-78, say from Salisbury Township and in towards Easton. But if you're in this area, you don't want to wait for that sound of that wind. You're not going to have a lot of warning necessarily. You want to just treat it like it's coming. Even though it's probably not for most of this red area, you want to treat it like it's coming.
So how do I treat
All of a sudden he ascends to the top of the screen. It says, let me just read this for you.
The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for the following Pennsylvania counties: Berks, Bucks, Chester, Lehigh, Montgomery, and Northampton, effective until 11:32 p.m. The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a tornado warning for East Central Berks County in eastern Pennsylvania, northwestern Montgomery County in southeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Lehigh County in eastern Pennsylvania, northwestern Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Chester County in southeastern Pennsylvania, south central Northampton County in eastern Pennsylvania. Until 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 10:47 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Gilbertsville, or 18 miles east of Reading, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard: tornado and quarter-size gale. Source: radar indicated rotation. Impact: flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Schwaigsville and Springmount around 10:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. East Greenville, Green Lane, and Garyville around 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Souderton around 11:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Quakertown and Percy around 11:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Pleasant Valley around 11:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Dublin around 11:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Byron, Bedminster, Teenicum, Ferndale, Ottsville, Pipersville, Revere, Gardenville, and Lumberville around 11:30.
So again, this area is what we're watching right now. First tornado warning came out down here, just west of Pottstown, eastern Berks County earlier this evening. Just worked its way east. These storms are moving pretty quickly, so usually when you get these straight line winds or you get these destructive winds or a possible tornado, it lasts like a minute or two. I mean, they move through very, very quickly, but they could pack a punch when they do move.
In fact, I had not noticed that your whole red zone here had shifted east. Well, I came out and just noticed the Berks County and northern Montgomery. Let's see where if I can find northern Montgomery right about there.
There you are. Yep.
And that had been in the red, but it eventually just shifted. So within a few more minutes, presumably, I guess before 11:30, we might see some more shifting of that whole red zone to the east.
Yeah, I mean, the National Weather Service constantly updates these. Our weather computers will trim these live on the air. So if areas are cleared, if the warning is canceled because these storms weaken, then we'll see an update live on air. Here's your most recent radar, and I'll step off in a second and put the sweeps and see if there are any the spinning icons, but you can see the strongest storms now from Easton